Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 1 finale. This episode is titled Coming Home. I don't even need to give you a synopsis. All I'm going to tell you is that this is the final episode. Before I get into spoilers, let's talk about the cast. We have Norman Reedus reprising his role as Daryl Dixon, Clemens Posey as Isabel, Louis Puech Esquiglezy as Laurent. I hope I said that right at least in one of the videos. Laika Blank Francard as Sylvie, Eric Ebani as Falu Bukar, and Anne Charrier as Jeanette, who we know is our main antagonist. So, as I mentioned before I get into spoilers, this is the season finale. In IMDb, I had seen 12 episodes, but I guess that's because they're accounting for both seasons. So the first part ends here. Overall, I think the season overall was a hit or miss. This last episode, I think it had really strong vibes. It stumbled a bit, I feel, in my opinion, towards the finale, like the final moments. But then I feel like it manages to recover towards the end. So overall, really enjoyed the season. This is the first Walking Dead thing that I've seen ever, like all the way through, ever since I dropped off back in season 7 or 8 of the original show. And boy, things have changed. Some things have stayed the same. I think The Walking Dead is really good at a lot of things, including the visual effects with the walkers, like, you know, the team that they've had doing all this stuff, the special effects, everything that looks so viscerally real. I think they do such a good job with that. They have that down to a T. I really enjoyed as well and I'll get into more details, but just the difference in setting I thought was really cool. It was a nice contrast, just a really nice exploration of a different place than what we had currently been seeing from from all the seasons that we've been in the U.S. So it was nice to explore a different place. And yeah, I think Norman Reedus really carried this show. I think he had a really good support cast around him. And overall, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next season. I'm also pretty excited for the upcoming show with Michonne and Rick. So we'll see what happens there. I know there's a trailer out there, but we're not currently doing trailers, but we'll do reviews after the show airs. So it's not really promotion. We're just reviewing the show afterwards. But before that, before we go anywhere else, actually, let's talk about the finale for season 1. So I'm gonna get into spoilers. We're gonna go through some of the highlights and the big beats, and just kind of talk about how that, to me, closed out the season. So if you haven't watched the show, go check it out, and then come back and watch the rest of the video. So we're gonna get into spoilers. Okay, first we have a cold open where we see some dead soldiers on a battlefield, and we keep hearing the name Dixon being yelled out. This is uh, supposed to be so. I it's a battle that has happened. I don't know exactly where in the timeline. We'll talk more about that towards the end, but we see some American soldiers, or who we are believed to see American soldiers, in a battle, and they've all been killed in action. It seems from this battle. So we cut back to where we left off last episode. Daryl versus this like juiced up zombie that so we are told one way or another that the shot that they give him, whatever chemical that this doctor's working for Jeanette, it made him into a burner. Whatever they're doing to these zombies, it makes them stronger, makes them more aggressive. They run a little faster, they move a little quicker than normal, and it makes them into burners. So that was we still don't know exactly what the purpose of all that is, other than probably just to weaponize zombies against other nations. But yeah, round two. So Daryl takes care of that first zombie pretty quickly. Round two, we have Daryl chained to Quinn, and they do a little fake out where like, oh, Quinn and Daryl now have to fight to the death, but no, actually they reveal another four walkers, and they shoot them up with that liquid. One of them's head explodes, which looks super gnarly. Like I mentioned, the special effects team on this show, like They really know how to nail that stuff. The other three, like they start being taken out. One of them attacks another zombie, so this is another even side effect of that they become um, aggressive even towards other zombies. Which, if you have watched, the Whisperer season of it, one of the ways that they use camouflage, like people use camouflage, is by dressing up like zombies because they're not supposed to attack each other. So that's another thing. So maybe they are accounting for that. Maybe that's part of the reason that these zombies will attack anything really. So yeah, they only have two to take care of. Quinn and Daryl work. They try to work together, but they are able to dispatch these other walkers. They they made it feel almost like, if you've ever seen the movie Gladiator, where Maximus starts winning over the crowd just by being badass and kicking ass. Like, this is kind of the same. It's the same idea behind it. I don't think it's as well done because this is just a TV show and that movie was fantastic. But yeah, we also see that the Roof Gang start setting up. Following some of the other guys are setting up to probably help with the escape. The Daryl wins over the crowd, which this is the moment that they incite a little bit of chaos. Right, somebody shoots one of the zombies, and they go, or no, they shoot at one of the shooters in Jeanette's army, and they start going all over the place. People start running everywhere. This Daryl and Quinn take this opportunity to run, and then Codron is told by Jeanette to go hunt Daryl. And then Isa and Laurent are locked up once again. We do realize later on, and I knew this was going to happen. Quinn has been bitten, so he's already like, you turn very quickly. Now I don't know if this is also due to the chemicals, or just that you turn very quickly when you are bitten. I I remember it taking a little bit longer with regular zombies, but maybe with this new zombie on steroids, probably takes a little bit. It's a lot quicker. So yeah, Quinn chooses to sacrifice himself. He cuts off his hand because they're still chained, because he wants Daryl to go help Isa and Laurent, who are locked up. But Laurent, Isa, using her pickpocketing ways, managed to grab a key. She's able to get them out of and everybody kind of starts leaving, right? Daryl regroups and then goes finds them. Of course, Quinn, as a zombie now, finds Isa and Laurent, and Laurent has to finally step up and, I guess, choose violence, if you will. So I think the performance, uh, Laurent's actor is doing such a fantastic job, because a lot of the show really depends on us believing him as this messiah like character, or at least believing that he really feels all those ways, like, that he really is as passionate as he is about everything that he's kind of preaching. So uh they escape, they continue towards the nest. So the groups kind of split back up. We have everyone else going back and staying, I guess, back to kind of fight Jeanette, or at least go back to the roof. And we have Sylvie, Laurent, Isabel, and Daryl, who head in a car towards the nest. The car breaks down. Cadron catches up with them, with his boys, or with some of Jeanette's boys, actually. But so I had a problem with this sequence because I didn't really know what Cadron's motivation is. His motivation is to kill Daryl because he killed his brother in the first episode. We know that. But then he's told to kill Laurent. He can't do it. He decides that he's not, he won't kill a child. And then instead he murders Jeanette's soldiers. And he lets them all go, right? He lets them escape towards the nest. He does find out where the nest is himself. Um, but yeah, this felt a little bit like, I don't know, it felt like a weird turn, like almost as if, oh yeah, it's the season finale. We need to get them to the nest. So like they kind of have a little bit of plot armor at this point. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, they make it to the nest. Also, I noticed as they were going into the nest, like, um, France has such a diverse landscape of like places and countrysides. It almost feels to me like a really well drawn out D&D map. Like, you have all the cool terrain that you need all over the place. So yeah, we get to see some really cool shots of just established shots of the French countryside, which make this show actually pretty enjoyable. I think they really add to the show when we get to see how different the architecture and the countryside and just everything else. Like I don't know, it feels like France has so many different kind of terrains and geography all over the country. So I think, it's a really good choice for a place to explore in the world of The Walking Dead. So there's gonna be a lot of questions about that. You know, will Jeanette be coming for them? What's the nest like? Like, what's going on? We meet Losang, who is the leader at the nest, um, and they kind of get introduced. Everybody really happy to see Laurent, so it's really interesting to get a Messiah-like reception, and from there, this really felt like the show wound down so much in the tension, right? We get one last moment where Jeanette learns the truth about Codron and the betrayal. So of course she's gonna find the nest, but we don't know what that's gonna. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that's gonna imply. Because Daryl is supposed to be leaving. Um, at this point, he's ready to go home. He's found the way. The people at the nest have a way for him to get at least back on the side of the continent, and from there he's kind of on his own to get back to the U.S. But yeah, like after that, Issa confronts Daryl about leaving, especially leaving without saying bye to Laurent. I think she feels a very strong connection to Daryl, and I think Daryl does too to them. But he also has a responsibility. He has people that he has left back home, and that he explains that. And I think Norman Reedus really pushes through that in the performance. So that was really cool to see. As Daryl's leaving, he sees an American gravesite and finds a grave with the name Dixon on it. Now, I don't know. I don't. It couldn't be his dad. It had to be like his grandfather or something, right? Because World War II happened in the 40s. This is still supposed to be like in the late, 2010s or whatever, or maybe even current, closer to current timeline. So there's no way that was his dad that died over there, and he was Daryl would be a lot older than that, I think. So it had to be his grandfather. I think that he found his grave, which is a really interesting detail. It ties back up to the cold open from before the credits with the American soldiers. So one last moment of an obstacle, I guess, for Daryl. He has to fight his way to the beach where he's going to meet up with a boat, and then Laurent shows up out of nowhere with all these walkers running around too. And then U2 starts playing. It was such a weird ending. Like, I don't even know what am I supposed to gather from that. Like, is he going home? Is he taking Laurent with him? Or is he going back to the nest? There's so many things, right? Because if you haven't heard, and we'll talk about this because of let's talk about the credit scene, and then we'll talk more about what this could mean. We see a motorcycle chased by a car. We they want to make it seem. I mean, we know it's Daryl's motorcycle, but we don't know who's driving it. And then we see a car chasing the bike. It turns out that Carol is there, which is really good to see. Melissa McBride, I think, back in the show, we heard her over the radio earlier in the season, but it's really good to see her back. I think it was told that this was supposed to be a Daryl show, but because of the pandemic and everything that happened, Melissa McBride chose to not go to France for however long. You know, she wanted to stay home. So, but it is rumored that she will be part of season two. So makes it very confusing. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, did did Daryl come back home? I don't think there's no way that Carol's going over to France. Like, that feels in this world of The Walking Dead. Like, you just can't leave a continent. There's no way. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. But it was really nice to see Carol back. Such a bad like what an evolution for a character over all these series that have happened in The Walking Dead. So either way, I quite enjoyed the season finale, even with the weird kind of ending that left everything very ambiguous. I don't even know if that was the original ending they had planned. I don't know what was going on, but I'm excited to check out the new upcoming show. Of course, I'll be checking out season two as well, because this is one Walking Dead show that finally managed to hook me once again. I think because Daryl's a really cool character, and like I said, I was really looking forward to the Daryl Carroll show, but this one worked as well. So, if you have seen this show, let me know what you thought about this episode in particular. What did you think about the season? And of course, stay tuned because we'll have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, movie reviews, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.